Welcome to the Calder Farmstead.
Now the Ice Hawks back out to center in transition. Carlson with Quinville 2-on-1. Right with Carlson, Quinville scores!
Here's a chance for Derek. Fight scores! Off the face-off! Up in Zeminger. Pulled back to Wierenski. Has it. Shoots one. Bounces off a man. 5 seconds left. Wierenski. Another jam on the shot. Turning and firing. They score! Scores! They score! Now they catch each other and they both go right over the top. Matching rights to one another. McDermott gets the helmet off of Cassie.
And now with 9 minutes gone in overtime, the Bears breaking out right side with Bear. Looks like cutting to the net. Bear will score!
And here are your hosts, Cece and Sean.
Hello and greetings from the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado.
And Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, welcome to the Calder Farmstead podcast, episode number 34 for Tuesday, May 4th, 2021. And for all you Star Wars nerds out there, may the 4th be with you. If you were hoping for a podcast featuring a breakdown of compact versus subcompact tractors, we are not going to be much help. This is an American Hockey League podcast, and my name is Cece Hockley.
And I'm Sean O'Brien.
And as always, we thank you all for tuning in with us.
And if you're new to hearing Cece and I talk about hockey, we're going to recap the last weekend in the AHL for you. We both watch a lot of AHL games. We're going to talk about what we see when we watch the film, as well as use some advanced stats to help us break it down. If that's new to you, you might want to head over to our podcast feed or YouTube channel, wherever you're listening to us from, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and check out episode 0. It's a short primer on some of the stats we're going to be talking about, as well as how we view what's important on the ice. So if you're newer to some of the more advanced hockey stats terms like PDO or the point shares model, or newer hockey terms like controlled zone entries, go check that out, so you better be able to pick up what we're putting down. I promise it's not that nerdy or technical. It's only 20 minutes, and let's be honest, you wasted 20 minutes today watching the Marvel Phase 4 trailer. It's literally a preview of previews. You're not going to get that time back, so why not next time spend a little more time with us talking hockey?
I actually spent about 20 minutes trying to figure out if you took all the bad games from this season from Austin Matthews, how that tabulates to being on pace with Wayne Gretzky in his prime. I didn't click on the article because I don't think it deserved one, but yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to name names or publications or anything, but
yeah, I mean, it's just like saying if you took away all of my hair, I would actually be the baldest man on earth.
You'd resemble Cece a little bit more than not. So, but this is why I wear hats, and I digress. All right, let's dive right into it. We got a weekend to recap. And first and foremost, the Toronto Marlies versus the Belleville Senators. Saturday and Sunday, 3 p.m. matchups in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I picked the B-Sens on Saturday and the Marlies on Sunday. You went the reverse, Shawnee. You went Marlies on Saturday, Senators on Sunday. The model had Belleville slight favorite at 50.9% for both games. And what do you know? Belleville takes the sweep, winning 5-3 on Saturday and 4-1 on Sunday. Boy, didn't expect that. But, you know, we got to break it down. We can't just leave it at that. Special teams were a big key to the weekend for the Marlies. Did they step up on the power play and penalty kill units?
Mostly no. The penalty kill did the job both nights, but the power play went 1 for 11 on the weekend, which I suppose is improvement, but they got outscored on their own power play, giving up 2 shorties.
Ooh.
They really got pushed around by Belleville's aggressive penalty kill on Saturday. They got stuck on the walls and ended up taking outside shots. Spoiler, that will not generate you consistent offense. They scored on their first attempt Sunday off a good passing sequence that went across Royal Road and then from Robertson to the point, which I thought was a good play as it looked like Sogaard was expecting Robertson to shoot. But the rest of their power play attempts after that, and there were 8 of them, I believe, were sloppy. Lots of telegraph passes. I mean, guys just staring down their intended receiver and getting their pass broken up or intercepted like they're Drew Lock.
Oh, hey now. Hey now. I'm sorry. Hey. Easy on the Denver reference there. Continue.
I mean, their zone entries looked like as soon as they crossed the blue line, that they took 3 shots at tequila. They were just lost, no idea what their options were, what they were doing. It was not good. The only time they looked halfway competent on the power play after that first one on Sunday was with 2 minutes left in the game, 6-on-4. And by that point, yeah, that's really not doing any help. Those shorthanded goals were absolute backbreakers here, and they were very close to giving up a third shorty. But I mean, Parker Kelly literally spotted Pavel Gogolev about 3 strides in the defensive zone and still beat him on a race to the far slot. That's just embarrassing. Joseph Labate spots Gaudette and Dusak about half the offensive zone. Dusak completely unaware and just kind of goes off for a Brad Marchand change. Gaudette realizes that like he's getting out hustled to this, but comes to that conclusion way too late. Boop, 3-1 Sens. And while we took a Marlies focus on the preview, and we've talked about how the Sens are not quite the most talented team, but they absolutely know zero quit. They are team no chill. And that's what both of those shorthanded goals were. They were the Sens just out hustling and outworking the Marlies on back-to-back plays. And this also would have been my choice for a timeout and a goalie change. I also just wanted to, I think you call the timeout there after that second shorthanded goal. It's 3-1. The game is not over yet, but it's on the brink of being over. And this was been a good time, I would have thought, for a regroup, a goalie change, do something to change up the energy, because that was like, if the Marlies don't hit the post on that next shorthanded attempt and it goes in 4-1, game's over. But I also just wanted to point out, Dusak had an awful game on Sunday. There were quite a few instances of, if I were Greg Moore, that I would have staple gunned him to the bench. Just sloppy play overall, and very much looked like he didn't care.
Well, let's move on from that sloppy power play, and we'll talk about the Marlies penalty kill. They did the job this weekend. They went a perfect 6 for 6 on the kill. John, what did you see from them that led to the success?
I mean, nothing fancy. They did the things that you needed to do to have a successful penalty kill. They did well disrupting entries and keeping Royal Road passing lanes closed. I also want to point out, too, that I really liked the type of penalty killer that Tyler Gaudette has become. He's someone that I have already admitted to have been wrong about this year, and he's really looked a much more well-rounded and has managed to stick the landing with some of his production this year that I thought was not necessarily a fluke, but not sustainable. Mm-hmm. And he has sustained it. So good for him. Shame on me. But I like the penalty killing aspect of his game that's kind of developed a little bit more this season. I feel like he's physical, but disciplined. He knows when to jump up and try and make offense, but he can also break up passes in the D zone and get his stick in lanes. Like, he has really done a good job of adding that dimension to his game. Now, I don't know if that ever gets him to be, in the show again, but it's still something valuable for the Marlies that he brings.
Talked about the special teams. Let's shift to goaltending. I know that was a key to the weekend that we brought up last episode. They needed to just get timely saves. So how would you rate that this weekend?
I think Woll definitely gave them timely saves. Being outshot 24-19 in the third period, Woll's big saves managed to keep the Marlies in the game in that first game. That third goal by Beaudin, it's not Woll's fault. Deflects off the initial shot by Castles, hits Crawl right in the skate, bounces right to Beaudin with a wide open net, 3-2 Sens. Like, nothing you can do about that as the goalie. Fluke bounce. Fourth goal was a tip in front. Again, nothing Woll can do there. It's not his job to pick up guys looking for tips in front of the net. It's his job to try and, just pray that it hits him when a puck gets tipped that close to you. And it did not. Prayers not answered. Vinny Vavalainen, otherwise known as V, he did not give the Marlies timely saves. And to be completely fair to V, he's seen an entire 69 minutes and 39 seconds of ice time this season. He played 10 minutes for the Leafs on March 6th, and the rest of that time was in late February. So the fact that he looked maybe not perfectly on his game seems very fair, but at the same point, that's what we saw from V, is him look kind of rusty. He had no idea anyone was even standing on the back door, and by the time he realized that Crookshanks was there, puck was in the net basically. Neither shorthanded goal was really his fault per se. That fourth goal off the back wall, not his fault, period. But that's the big difference here, is Sogaard made the saves on those high danger scoring chances and those high danger shots. The Rosen breakaway in the last few minutes of the first. I mean, he got Casala to hit the post on a breakaway, which we can discuss on how much is, getting lucky versus at least some level of skill. He stopped Crawl on a cross-ice shot on the rush, stopped Callie Rosen on a penalty shot. Sogaard made the big saves in that second game, and V did not. And while I don't necessarily hold them against V, I give them as credit to Sogaard, and I feel like that's fair.
Sogaard, like we talked about last episode, the 7th goaltender to grace the net for Belleville this season. Just quite a cast of characters up there in Ontario. Well, for the Belleville Sens. I mean, there's another AHL team in Ontario, Toronto. Speaking of which, any closing thoughts on the Marlies here?
I think for me, every single remaining Canadian team is going through an absolutely insane sprint to the finish for this season, where they're basically all going to be playing a game every other night, or a game every other night on average for the last 3 or so weeks. Personally, I think that's dumb. As really the part of your team whose skills you're developing at this point is your training and medical staff. But good luck to the Marlies in that stretch run. May the odds ever be in your favor, to quote a really awful movie.
Oh,
it's not good.
It was okay.
There's 40 minutes from the beginning of that movie to anything even resembling action. No.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess that'll wrap that up. We don't have any guests on like we didn't have on the preview, so therefore we don't have on the recap. But if you are a Marlies fan or a Belleville Senators fan, we talked about both in equal portions, I think. If you've heard what you came to listen for and are about to peace out, we want to thank you guys for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you're watching on YouTube, wherever you're listening to us from. Just check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and let us know how we're doing. We really appreciate the feedback. And we, aside from these videos and the podcast episodes we do, we got some pretty good AHL memes and some other stuff as well. So with that said, we're only about 10, 11 minutes into the program, but we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, we've covered one series up in the Canadian division. We're going to head a little further south back into the United States and talk about the Utica Comets weekend over there in the North Division. Friday at 7 p.m. versus Rochester. Sunday at 3 p.m. at Syracuse was their weekend slate. I picked Utica on Friday, Syracuse on Sunday. Sean said Utica on Friday, Syracuse on Sunday as well. He also said Syracuse was too hot, and Rochester looks awful, which, yeah. He said all of the games should be fun. The model said Utica, 69.8%. Very nice Friday prediction. Syracuse, 54.5% on Sunday. And, we all three of us were in agreement, and so were the game results. Bing! Chalk it up to us. Nailed it! Utica 7-1 on Friday over Rochester. My God, they are awful. And Syracuse picking up the 5-2 victory on Sunday. So, hey, we talked in the preview for this weekend for the Comets that goaltending and special teams would play a factor. Friday night against the Amerks, how much of a factor were the goaltending and special teams?
I mean, in terms of did they get good results from those areas? Yeah, they did, but I'm not really 100% sold that the game tilted in their favor because of it. Goaltending-wise, the Comets did get starts for Michael DiPietro, who looked fresh, which was surprising to me. I mean, he hadn't gotten into a game prior to this weekend in 415 days. For comparison, I've had short hair and a clean shave more recently than he had played a professional hockey game prior to this weekend. So regardless of that, he looked sharp on Friday, and a kind of sparse workload too, as it was not a back and forth kind of game, as 7-1. That's what you expect. Only got credited with 20 shots on goal recorded against him, but a dangerous workload for sure. He had at least 4 breakaways, I think, that he stopped, 1 penalty shot. He really looked the part of a guy who gave them saves. Like, should the Comets have not gotten, I wouldn't say good shooting luck, but bad goaltending performance on the other end, he would have kept them in this game, but that wasn't unfortunately necessary for him, but he still looked just as good. And the Canucks goaltending coach, Ian Clark, I believe his name is, gave him a lot of praise after the game, and he definitely merited that. From a special teams look-wise, again, solid results. 2 for 7 on the power play. Curtis McKenzie gets an absolute gift rebound and bangs it home. Gadjevich on the backhand from down low with Lekas providing just bad post play. So some credit to Gadjevich, some loss of credit because that's not how that puck should have gone in. But the rest of the power plays had mixed good results, but I feel like there was some foot off the gas going on a bit as it got later and much more one-sided. Arsenault and Tucker getting power play time is pretty much my case in point there. But it definitely felt like there was a lack of urgency on the power play before then. But I'm not really going to harass the comments for that, really. 4 for 4 on the penalty kill. Did a good job keeping outside passing lanes closed and keeping the Americs on the outside for the most part. I still think their penalty kill forecheck is way too aggressive at times with their 1-1-2 formation. And the second forechecker getting too aggressive, leaving his 2 defensemen basically forced to backpedal up and give the zone too often on the penalty kill. It didn't burn them this game, but it's something we've mentioned in the past that's concerning to me, and I still think that their coaching staff should change that. But I think the big tale of this game was more about Rochester just being undermanned. They had 10 forwards and 8D, a lot of college undrafted free agents rounding out the roster, which isn't necessarily a mark against those players in general. There are good undrafted college free agents that come out, but probably not these ones. And a lot of interesting things to point out here too is instead of playing D at forward in the regular rotation and just rolling 4 lines, the Amherst chose to basically just roll 3 lines for the most part, which I didn't understand that choice by Seth Appert. I mean, they rolled Warren, Franco, Hawkins, Murray, and Petchkar when he was available and not in the penalty box, with Ellie and Polino, Gates, Smith, and Mersch. Alec McRae worked in a bit at forward, but not that often. The Americans never really got a line rotation settled, and it seemed like every 5 minutes there were some special teams events, mostly them taking dumb penalties, and that really kind of disrupted anything they had going, which, to be fair, was not much to begin with. But they very much looked like Rochester very much looked like a team that wanted out of this game once it hit about 4-1.
Yeah, and just looking at their roster, and I'm like, okay, well, after this weekend, what does the active roster look like? And Billy Christopoulos is the only active goaltender currently listed on the AHL.com. And he has had stints. He didn't play for him, but he was signed to a PTO with Henderson, with Hershey, and now with Rochester. And you're putting this guy in, and he's had a multitude of instances. Granted, it wasn't this weekend, but yeah. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. And I believe, is it Lekas? Did he get called up by Buffalo?
I hope for their sake he did not.
I believe that he got called up by Buffalo today, and people were just.
I think I bet on Buffalo tonight too, so please don't tell me that.
Oh, God.
Let me cry in peace after the show.
Sabres sign Amherst goalie Stefanos Lekas to PTO.
I think I saw that Michael Hauser's getting the nod tonight. So
right, yes, I did see a comment on social media about. He's like, okay, or somebody said, okay, so we're going to make another ECHL goaltender look NHL ready, right?
Well, they've been doing it with UPL for a couple games before then. But...
Right? And he got hurt. Oh, that sucked to see. But anyway, moving on. Some closing thoughts on Friday.
Friday's game was one the officials very much lost control of. They should have been giving 10s much earlier instead of this matching minors penalty nonsense. And I understand the AHL is a developmental league for officials as well. So let's hope this is a teachable moment from this crew, from someone from up above, because the Dominic Franco cross-checking penalty was your big flashing sign clue that this game was headed towards chaos, and you needed to start giving guys misconducts and tell both benches the next time it's game misconducts, and we'll play with half the bench full if that's what you want. But that's how you help settle these games down that are veering towards losing control. And if you don't believe me, go watch Lehigh Valley and Hershey from this past weekend and how the game changed when Matt Molson got a 10.
Matt
Molson got a 10. And now, did Matt Molson absolutely deserve a 10 from that moment? Probably not. But was the game still physical and rough, but did it stay under control? For the most part, yes, because when you give guys 10s that early and tell them, like, next one's out, they're like, oh, okay, I should stop screwing around now and try and be a hockey player.
And when that happens, you get Cale Kessie on the score sheet as well. I did notice that. Cale Kessie starts to put the puck in the back of the net. Yeah. Sean giving me the pshaw. Well, anyway, let's talk about Saturday's game against Syracuse. This one did not go the Comets' way. Did we see special teams and goaltending play a factor in this one?
Special teams, not as much. Both went 0 for the power play, but they only combined for 3 power play chances, so not a whole lot going on there. But that wasn't because both teams were on their best behavior, though, as this was very much a prison rules style game for most of it. Syracuse only really got 1 good shot on their power play. The rest were either blocked, missed the net, or from distance with no useful setup or traffic or passing prior to that to be a good shot attempt. The crunch really kept the Comets from getting set up by being really aggressive and using pressure, forcing the Comets to kind of keep moving the puck in a keep away fashion and not in a attack the net fashion. Lockwood had a good chance in front, but shot it basically directly into Bednard's pads. Goaltending didn't quite get the best result here, but I don't think that's on DiPietro per se. The Prisky goal that opened the scoring was just a bad bounce off the back wall. DiPietro tracked it pretty well. At least I thought, but he just couldn't get there in time. And while, yes, it was a breakaway of sorts, the Jimmy Huntington goal was just a flat-out shot from the tops of the circles that beat him low, which maybe not a bad goal, but one that's in the, like, giving your team a save at a critical moment category. That would have been a good time for it. Mm-hmm. That third goal was 100% on Jet Wu. He made the choice to step up way too late. He was a full 2 seconds late to that puck. And that's a lifetime in professional hockey. You cannot be 2 full seconds late to your spot. No. Ideally, both Brisbois and Jacek wouldn't dive on the exact same moment. So one of them would be on their skates to pick up the rebound. But I feel like that's not really something I can hold against them in a serious way, trying to defend what is a 2-on-1. The last goal, I would have liked to see him make a save here, but off a close enough to Royal Road pass to be in the spirit of the thing, and what appeared to be a screen in front of him, I understand how that goes in.
Okay. Well, if those moments weren't necessarily the biggest factors in the game, what would you say the ones that were and that decided it?
I mean, Syracuse really controlled the pace of play early on this game. Not a dominating effort, but a tilted ice for sure. And by the time Utica got in and started generating meaningful offense, it was 3-0 crunch. The Comets did generate a bunch of chances from inside home plate, but they seem to just be flung right at Bednard's pads or his chest, which isn't saying that Bednard moved well or tracked the puck well, because I don't think he did either in this game. It very much looks like an ECHL goalie who's still struggling with the skill and speed differential of the AHL because, well, that's what he is. And it looked a lot more like the Comets just kind of helped pad his stats by taking a lot of shots from good areas on the ice, but not putting them into difficult saves on the net. It was a really good opportunity for someone like Jonah Gadjevich to shine, but he got called up after Friday's game. But his presence definitely would have been useful to them, as there were a lot of juicy rebounds that Bednar just kind of kicked to whoever was there. And that is the JG specialty right there.
Yeah, Gadjevich would have definitely gobbled this up for sure. Closing thoughts on the Utica Comets from this past weekend.
Well, with the season winding down, I'm not going to go full postmortem on what we saw from them. We'll save that for later. But if nothing else, we can definitely see what a difference getting a few saves can make for this team. Like we talked about with the Rochester game, it was 7-1, but Rochester had attempts that, a lesser goalie would have let in and made this game much more close than it was. Give Rochester one of those saves, 2 of those saves, we maybe have a 5-3, 5-4 kind of game here. Now, yes, it was 7-1, and that's wish casting a bunch, but I think getting a couple of saves from the goalie really changes the dynamic of a lot of the aspects of this team, as well as what Jonah Gadjevich's skill set does for the team. Mikey DiPietro hasn't played in forever, but he's looked to have made really good use of his time since he was last in Utica. I'm not convinced he's NHL bound someday, but he looks to have taken some big steps forward without game reps, and that's difficult progress to make. So if nothing else, I think he definitely has a future in the minimum this league.
The Utica Comets are now kind of on pace with the rest of the North Division now, even though their game against Rochester today, Monday, as we're recording this, was, you guessed it, postponed. Yeah.
That one's not our fault. We didn't preview that episode. I will not have you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Sorry. No, I'm sorry. Well, I will say that they now have 21 games played, which is good because all the teams in the North Division now have somewhere in the 20s of the games played. So at least they're not stuck at 9 games played like they were a few weeks ago, and everybody else was in double digits. So Utica, 4th out of 7 teams in the North Division, 12-8-0-1 with a .595 points percentage. Syracuse, 16-9-2-0, .630. Rochester, of course, in the doldrums, right above Binghamton in 6th place, .438 with a 9-12-2-1 record.
And last but not least, if this is your jumping off point as a listener, as a probably almost assuredly Comets fan, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening to us from. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We have a pretty good time on social media, so come join us. We're going to take a quick break here, pay some bills. This travel is not free. So when we come back, we are going out to the West Coast to talk Eagles and rain.
All right. 2 series down, 2 series to go. And this next series, well, right in my backyard. Colorado Eagles hosting the Ontario Reign. Friday, 7:05 p.m. Saturday, 7:05 p.m. Both games in Loveland at the Budweiser Event Center. I predicted an Eagles sweep against my better judgment. Well, I just went for it. Sean said, hey, no Quentin Byfield, Eagles sweep. Hell, even the model, Colorado, 59.8%. Even the model agreed with us. But guess what? Unlike the previous series where we were all in one accord, no, the game results ended in a Ontario Reign sweep. 4-1 on Friday, a little bit closer on Saturday, 5-4 victory for the Reign. Oh.
Yeah, we were way off here. I blame you for picking sweeps against your better judgment and then convincing me to do it. I wanted to at least go split here. I would have thought Walter would steal one maybe as he's been hot, but Colorado couldn't get a single W here in this 3-game set, let alone over the weekend, especially with Byfield up in with the Kings. Cece, what happened here?
Oh, gosh. Just watching this, there's a few factors here. I really think that Ontario getting the win on Wednesday kind of gave them that hope and gave them that motivation to carry through the weekend. And I feel like if you give these young kids that motivation and they really start to put it together, we've seen it with the Reign earlier in the season. When they click on all cylinders, they are hard to beat. Like, they can win, they can blow you out of the water, and they can win those close games. And although I don't feel like they blew the Eagles out of the water on Friday, a 4-1 victory is still a 4-1 victory. So anyway, I say all that to say that they look super efficient from top to bottom. The vets were involved. The rookies were involved. You had Ferk, you had Gantz, you had Imama. They contributed to the score sheet in both weekend games. Asimon potted 2 goals in Saturday's matchup. Littleton, Colorado native. Of course, he wanted to show out in his home state, with Littleton just a little further south of Loveland there. And, of course, the Black and Silver Bandits. You had Kaliev and Akil Thomas. Granted, Thomas's goal was an empty netter, but who's counting? I mean, they've helped Ontario close out the game with those 2 third-period goals. And you know what? Name of the game was turnovers with the Eagles, consistently turning the puck over in the neutral zone. And it's just when you can't generate offense on a consistent basis and keep the puck out and keep clogging up the passing lanes. I'll get to that in a second, but there's just a number of things that it was a combination of Ontario coming in hot and the Eagles defense just being so lackluster, and a combo of that's the reason why Ontario didn't just sweep the weekend, but the 3-game set.
All right, Cece, let's talk some voodoo here. We had on Friday, Villalta against Werner, Jonas Johansson versus JF Berube on Saturday. What did we see from our voodoo practitioners in this one?
Well, if you would have asked me to bet on Adam Werner and Hunter Miska getting called up to the Avalanche before Saturday's game, I would have called you a damn liar. But that's exactly what happened. You had Jonas Johansson starting and Parker Gahagan backing him up. And it's like, well, okay, here we go. But let's talk Friday's game first, rather. as Henderson rode the PDO train for most of this season, I feel like we took like a short train ride, like maybe a scenic mountain tour on the PDO. Well, it wasn't a PDO train, but Villalta rode the Voodoo train recently for the Ring. So in his past 3 starts, he had 1 against the Kingslayer, the Bakersfield Condors. I'm sorry, Kingslayer. He had 2 against the Dukes of Loveland with the Colorado Eagles. He's allowed only 3 goals, has 1 shutout, and has exactly 100 saves on 103 shots. That is .971 save percentage for those keeping track at home. Now, on the other side of the ice, Adam Werner, after allowing only 2 goals in his last 2 games started, he allowed 3 on Friday night. And like I said earlier with the Akil Thomas goal, that was an empty netter. So Colorado started the goal scoring on Friday with some great passing in deep, and then Ian Scheid got a rebound on the right wing with a slapper. After that, Ontario had the rest. You know, Gauntz, he kind of had a half-powered wrister and no traffic, so I think that's one that Werner should have saved. The second goal was just great passing, just tic-tac-toe passing across Royal Road, no sticks in passing lanes like I kind of referenced earlier. Yeah, Colorado's defense was definitely lacking. Collision as Jean-Luc Foudy went for the puck at center ice. Boom, the puck squirts into the Eagle zone. Dan Renouf tried to kind of, just give a weak stick tap pass to his defensive partner, and Kaliev made him pay. Kaliev with his speed, yeah, he made him pay and just put the puck in the back of the net. So I say 2 of those 3 goals weren't Werner's fault, but when you run into the voodoo practitioner that is Matthew Villalta, that's bound to happen. Now, Saturday, these days, JF Berube is going to JF Berube. He didn't clamp down on an angle for that Wagner goal. I believe that was the second goal of the night. But Newhook's 2 goals were just pure skill. I mean, the kid, he came in from the left wing and just wristed it in, and he was right in front for that second goal. I mean, it was just pure skill from Alex Newhook. He is actually rumored to be making his NHL debut on the Avalanche road trip. So very well earned for Newhook. He's just showing out the AHL. The Avs couldn't ignore it anymore. But I digress. Back to Saturday night. Now, I was concerned when Jonas Johansson was starting in net on Saturday. I was like, oh boy, here we go. So Asimont had a breakaway. Ferk had a slap shot from the left wing. You don't want to leave that man open for a slap shot, especially if he gets that accurate. And, Johansson just let in a slap shot through traffic. I don't think that was his fault. But as we say here on the Calder Farmstead, like we've mentioned a number of times, goaltending is voodoo. And the fact that Johansson's last NHL start on April 26th yielded just 16 saves on 20 shots on goal, the power of voodoo in all the wrong ways definitely didn't remind me of the Babe.
Yeah, I think it was John Vogel, the athletic beat writer for the Buffalo Sabres, called Jonas Johansson the worst goaltender he's ever seen. And I don't think that that's entirely fair, as I have definitely seen goaltenders at the NHL level that are worse than Jonas Johansson, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's not one that you're, real excited when you hear his name called as the starting goaltender net for pretty much any team that you're a fan of, as CC kind of alluded to there. Let's talk with our 3 keys to the weekend here. Number 1, we said, was recovering dump-ins and getting breakouts going. Ontario has very much been a dump and chase style team. They're looking to dump, chase, cycle, and create offense that way instead of off the rush traditionally. How did that look for a Colorado key that they got right or wrong?
Well, I tell you, Ontario, they didn't just do that well. They didn't just dump and chase and cycle well, but they were aggressive on zone entries, which was kind of like again, I've only seen it a handful of times when I've watched Ontario tape this year, but when they do it and they execute it well, like they did pretty much all weekend, it's dangerous and it's scary. Like long leading passes, tape to tape, just, crisp, clean. I mean, Colorado allowing Ontario to slice through the neutral zone more often than not. Yeah, that definitely set the tone for the weekend when you allow that much space and allow the opposition to create that much. It spells doom for your weekend.
Second key we had was shutting down Ontario on the power play. There's no reason Colorado should allow power play goals to them. They are one of the worst power plays in terms of efficiency, despite having good talent. They just can't seem to put it together on the power play. Colorado's penalty kill is good now. CC, how did that go?
Mission accomplished on Friday night. Colorado held Ontario 0 for 3 on the power play, but it also allowed the Reign to go 1 for 2 on Saturday. So, yeah, 50% clip. Yeah, that's not good. Combined with the 1 for 6 power play Ontario had on Wednesday, the Reign went 2 for 11. That's 18.1% on the man advantage over those 3 games. Now, again, they were last in the league. Now they're 27th out of 28 after this weekend with a 13.6% conversion rate. I don't think it's an absolute failure by the Eagles, but it's not a resounding success for the first-ranked PK in the league going into this weekend. Now they're second. They're down to 86% flat behind Tucson. But, I mean, yeah, Tucson's got the best penalty kill in the league. Yeah, 86.3%.
I mean, I'll take your word for it, but man, you could have given me 10 guesses at that, and I wouldn't have come up with Tucson.
I know. Well, and before we get to the third point, speaking of Tucson, I want to touch on their 2 games because, we mentioned them as the Jekyll and Hyde. So Friday, San Diego wins 5-3. Tucson casually comes back on Saturday and proceeds to defeat them 9-2 for crying out loud. I mean, how much more Jekyll and Hyde can you get? And Brett Farah, once again, he says, I wouldn't be surprised if this team is shut out 6-0, and then the next game comes and scores 9 or 10 goals. That's exactly what happened. It's like, holy hell. Anyway, sorry.
That is Tucson. They are Team Jekyll and Team Hyde separately.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And back to wrap up the second point. Sorry. I don't think those 2 power play goals that Colorado allowed over the weekend were the backbreakers per se. I just think their defense was shoddy. Just during the goals that they let in, the lapses came to bite them in the ass big time.
All right. And I did want to just make one quick correction here. You said Friday night they went 0 for 3 and the Reign went 1 for 2 on Saturday. That would be 1 for 5, not 1 for 6 on the power play. I know I told you there would be no math, so that's my fault. I apologize.
Yeah, shame on you. How dare you put numbers into this?
All right. Just like our episode was titled last time, we were hoping the Colorado rookies would produce here. So how did Newhook, Ranta, and even Barron look on this weekend against the Reign?
Yeah. Justin Barron made his debut this weekend, and they actually put him on the first power play unit, which I was kind of surprised that they just kind of were like, hell, go for it, put him in there. But, Friday, Newhook and Ranta, nowhere to be found. Same with, obviously same with Barron. Well, maybe not obviously, but yeah, Barron was nowhere to be found either. I blame their new line mate, Mika Salamaki. He's a serviceable forward, but they had good chemistry with Riley Woods. So anyway, I digress. These guys messed around and almost found a victory on Saturday, and that's what I was kind of predicting. It's like if these guys can contribute, then the Eagles have a chance. Like it's not a necessity, but I would say more often than not, it doesn't hurt. So here's what happened on Saturday. 2 goals by Newhook. One of them was a power play goal. 1 power play goal by Ranta. And Justin Barron getting his first and second AHL points. Primary assists, both of them, on Newhook's first tally and on Ryan Wagner's goal that I mentioned. So I'd say the Saturday game, they did. The rookie showed out, but unfortunately, Colorado still fell a little short.
Yeah, and that's always brutal. It sucks to lose the close ones. Like when you're getting blown out, it's fine. Just let's get out of here. But it always hurts to lose the ones that that if you took one extra stride, made one quick play, those are the ones that always hurt you the most. Any closing thoughts on the weekend's Eagles and Reign? What do they got coming up here?
Well, the Eagles, they've got Bakersfield next weekend. They travel to Colorado. Oh, they travel to California. They've got a little 2-game set against the Bakersfield Condors. And Ontario, gosh, who does Ontario have? Sorry, I didn't have that pulled up and ready to go when you asked me. But I'll take a look here. And schedules. Yes, we'll go there real quick. But yeah, the Ontario Reign, I mean, I don't think they've had a 3-game sweep all season. So especially when they were last place in the Pacific Division, they are now 6th out of 7 teams in the Pacific Division. I think the last place team is now Tucson Roadrunners. So
with their number one penalty kill.
right, yeah, completely bass backwards this season. But hey, can you expect anything less in 2021? All right, so Ontario, I can tell you their next 5 games. They've got a 2-game set against San Diego. They've got 1 game that they're hosting. Well, Colorado. Yeah, I forgot to write that down on the list because that was on my calendar. It was rescheduled, so I didn't put that on there. But Colorado, yeah, Sunday, May 9th. Colorado travels to El Segundo, play Ontario, and then Ontario finishes the season. The least of the least, the best of the least, rather. Ontario versus Tucson to finish out the season. So there you have it.
All right. Well, I think that's, unless you have something else you want to add, I believe that is going to do it for our recap of this Colorado Ontario weekend. If this is where you leave us as an Eagles or Reign fan, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for giving us a chance to recap the weekend for you. Don't forget to subscribe wherever listening to us from. Check us out on social media. Leave us a review if you're capable. Even if you only think we're a maybe 3.5-star podcast, give us that pity 1.5. I feel like that's really not asking too much.
No, not at all.
Pity 1.5. I feel like we can at least manufacture that. But we are going to head to break here. So if this is it for you, thanks for listening to us. Check us out on social media, subscribe, do all the things, click all the buttons, see what happens. All right, we're going to head to break, and when we come back, we are staying in the Pacific, and we're going to talk Silver Knights and Barracuda.
Our last series stays in the Pacific Division, the Henderson Silver Knights and the San Jose Barracuda. Friday, 6 p.m. at Henderson. Saturday, 6 p.m. at Henderson. I picked San Jose on Friday, Henderson on Saturday. Sean was like, hey, San Jose, no Alexander True, no Joachim Bleckfield. But Henderson is also unlikely to have Sakura or Logan Thompson. He picked Henderson Friday because he thought Patera would start, and San Jose Saturday. And the model picked Henderson as the slight favorite at 51.8%. And the results were actually, the complete opposite. San Jose. Oh, actually, no, I was right. Okay, yeah. San Jose winning 7-5 on Friday. I thought we had so many similar picks this week. I thought we were in the same boat again. But no, I win. Yay! San Jose wins 7-5 on Friday. Henderson with the shutout, 4-0 on Saturday. Okay, calm down, refocus, CC. Okay, all right, here we go. In the preview, we had 2 big focuses for the Silver Knights to take away W's this weekend. Penalty kill needed to do a better job taking away Royal Road passes, and they needed to own the first period. Let's look at the weekend as a whole. How did Henderson do with both of these areas across both games? Shawnee.
Mixed results. They were hot trash on Friday, but good on Saturday, and I would say both of these areas.
Hey.
Yeah, so we can't really look at it as a whole when they're that divergent, so we'll go Friday, Saturday. I feel like that makes more sense. So Friday on the penalty kill, Sandro Zimlewski opens the scoring off the power play off a Royal Road pass. Right off the bat, Henderson is screwing up both things that they were supposed to do, taking away Royal Road passes and winning the first period. And that was one way to kill 2 birds with 1 shot. And Zimlewski's second goal was basically a poke check on a puck that Dance didn't stop cleanly off a shot from a Royal Road pass. So still failing. Brandon Coe's goal is an off a Royal Road pass, but that puck cannot go in. Dance knew it too. He knew that was a bad one. You could see that he was visibly upset after that third goal. In terms of owning period 1, despite a positive penalty differential in the first periods, Henderson outshot it 11-9. Outshot in shots from home plate 4-3, outscored 2-1. They definitely had good shifts where they controlled the play in the San Jose end, but those stats we mentioned speak for themselves. They again couldn't have, like Dugan couldn't corral a rebound on a wide open net on the power play. That's one that if you put in the back of the net, maybe we can talk about a different game here, but controlling play is great. But you have to make something happen during that control, and Henderson absolutely did not in those shifts that they did control in the first period. But it was very much the things we were trying to get them to do over the weekend to get W's. They did none of them on Friday, and they lost. That is what happens.
And I found it curious that even after the performance that Dansk had on Friday, they went with him again on Saturday. It was just kind of, and then he posts the shutout. It's just kind of like, okay, tale of two games. Just, again, 2021. We have no answers. But hey, any other notes on Friday before we move on?
I mean, to kind of continue on that, I was surprised Dansk got the start on Saturday, given that he let up two kind of bad goals. I mean, he made a few big saves there, don't get me wrong, but I would have thought that would have been enough for Manny Viveiros to call Yuri Patera's number on Saturday, especially given that Dansk isn't a prospect for Vegas, whereas Yuri Patera very much is. Like, he's a late-round draft pick, but Dansk is not someone who they're thinking is a future, goaltender for them, as the Vegas Golden Knights have two goaltenders that I still don't think it's possible that they can keep another season, as both are getting up there in age and getting up there in contract value that's kind of tying stuff up for them. But so they need someone to kind of come in on a cheap contract and, maybe fill a backup role. Whereas I don't think Dansk is that guy, but maybe Yuri Patera could be. Goaltending's made up. But no, he went back to Dansk. Dansk played well. I'm curious if there was maybe like a conversation after that game of like, I know I did not play that well. I want another shot. Please put me back in. Or just Viveiros knows his guys. I do want to say one last thing before we move on from Friday. That bottom D pair of Braden Pahal and Zach Hayes did not play well. They got hemmed in their own zone a few times and just got caved in the entire game in terms of shot share. They were two guys that are going to have plenty of video from that game to review to improve upon, but not a good effort from either of them.
Well, that's a good note to shift over to Saturday on. Let's stick with the PK and owning the first period, those two keys that we talked about. How did that go for the Henderson Silver Knights on Saturday?
Much, much better. 4 for 4 on the penalty kill, which is a positive step. Did a much better job of not doing what we said, not giving up Royal Road passes. They really limited the Barracuda to outside shots from distance. Their first forechecker, which we talked about in the preview, about him getting way too deep in the zone, that was not something I saw. They still attempted to do power kill things where they're trying to, generate some offense shorthanded, but they're not getting caught up doing it. Jonas Ronberg in the second period on Saturday was a perfect example. Generating offense on the penalty kill, but didn't risk putting his team in a bad spot to do so. He took a chance, but he, killed clock, managed to not, drag other teammates to get caught in the zone with him, and still managed to generate a half-decent scoring chance if memory serves. In terms of owning period one, big fat check mark here. Amazing forecheck effort. Had the Barracuda hemmed in their own zone for several shifts 5-on-5. Won the shots on goal battle 16-6. Won the home plate shot battle 8-2, leading 3-0 at the end of the first. I mean, a 5-on-3 power play sure doesn't hurt, especially on a beautiful stretch pass from Dugan to Pahal. Dugan's second goal of the game. This was the effort and execution we needed to see on Friday. So this is a good bounce back effort, but we need to see this more consistently from them, as that has been kind of a sore area, where you'll see these just random off games that we didn't see earlier in the season. And that Jekyll and Hyde shit is Tucson's brand, not Henderson's.
Exactly. Well, hey, speaking of Henderson, any closing thoughts on the weekend for the Silver Knights?
We did talk a little bit about Dansk on Friday, so I feel like we should talk a little bit about him here. He bounced back with a shutout effort after an inconsistent performance on Friday, but he wasn't asked to do a whole lot on Saturday. Faced just 4 shots on goal from the home plate area all game. The shutout's nice, but let's not give us any injuries, patting ourselves on the back here. Like, he very much did what he was asked to do, but was not asked to do very much. We also talked a few weeks ago about Henderson and their power play zone entries and them not using the double drop play. They use it now, and their zone entries are much better because of it. So I'm not saying I had anything to do with that, but you didn't see me and their power play zone entry coach in the same room.
Somebody must be listening to the podcast. I'm hoping from Henderson. But hey, yeah, I guess that's all of our series. It's very strange to kind of, just be you and I kind of, dissecting all of this without any guests coming in and giving any further analysis. So, Yeah.
I think one of our focuses we talked about off camera was, doing a little bit more to try and keep it a little more under, a bloated 2.5 hour Michael Bay movie. So
we're only missing the explosions. That's the thing, just the CGI explosions, maybe slow motion. Oh, if only we had that budget. But hey, do you want to take one more break before we close out the show?
Yeah, let's take one more.
Sure. Well, hey, if you're a Henderson fan, thank you for listening. Same if you're a San Jose Barracuda. I know we didn't touch on that very much, but regardless, we thank you for tuning in. If this is your jumping off point, I mean, we want you to stick around. We got the cream of the crop coming up. We got our quiz coming up. Those are always entertaining. But if you are saying au revoir, we ask that you please like, subscribe, whatever you're on, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have memes for days. Sean and I, we're meme lords. Like that's part of our title. That's what we do. So check us out, like us, subscribe, like I said. But last break for episode number 34. Listen to some sponsors. We shall return very shortly. Okay. It is time for some dairy. Ooh, yeah, I'm feeling the cream. I'm feeling like I'm in the danger zone. Yeah, I've been to the danger zone. Yeah. Time for the cream of the crop. Ooh, yeah.
I feel like Danger Zone is starting to mix metaphors here, but that's fine.
Well, one of Macho Man's best promos, he actually said, I've been to the danger zone. Yeah. Yeah, I know you like Archer, and he says something danger zone. Is that what you were referencing?
That was actually that was where I was going. And unfortunately, we do not have the Danger Zone man himself from Grand Rapids as part of our cream of the crop this weekend. Sorry to Trey Loggins, didn't quite make the cut, but hope for the future.
Exactly. And real quick before we do get to the cream of the crop, shout out to the Cleveland Browns dude that was up on stage during the NFL draft, dressed as the Macho Man Randy Savage. Roger Goodell, as he passed by, couldn't quite figure out what to do with him. But he's like, oh, yeah. He was feeling it. He was probably munching on some Slim Jims, but he was just like, oh, yeah, feel the madness. Yeah. It was great. It was so good. And, like, Roger Goodell didn't come out for like a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So it was just the Cleveland Macho Man just doing his thing. And, like, I'm forgetting the commentators. They're like, where the hell is Roger Goodell? Why do we have to keep watching the Macho Man?
Roger Goodell doesn't want to be on the stage with that dude.
It was so glorious. It was amazing. So kudos to the Cleveland Macho Man for showing out during the NFL draft. But anyways, I digress. A little bit of a sidebar. Now, it is now time for the cream of the crop. Oh, yeah. Sean O'Brien going to start us off.
I mean, for me, making a repeat performance here again, Michael Carcone from the Tucson Roadrunners. A goal, 4 assists, 5 points on the weekend, all primary points. That's always going to be a near and dear to my heart. Michael Carcone, my first cream of the crop for the weekend.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, I got to talk a little north of the border here and go with J.C. Bowden. Yeah, can you feel from the Belleville Sens? 2 goals, 2 assists. Belleville sweeps the weekend against the Marlies. Like we talked about, 5-3 on Saturday, 4-1 on Sunday. Yeah, B-Sens are 5-1-0 against the Marlies this season. Final 2 games between them coming up May 19th and 20th. And then the season is over for Belleville. Yeah, coming up, J.C. Bowden. Oh, yeah, cream of the crop. Yeah. Your turn. I'm feeling madness tonight. You know it.
Second cream of the crop for me, Joel Kelman from the San Jose Barracuda. All of his scoring was done in 1 game this weekend, but still put up 5 games, all primary points, scored a hat trick, 2 assists, 5 total points on the weekend. The fact that he went 0 in the second game, you know what? I'm okay with. You scored 5 points in a game. You got a hat trick. That's cream of the crop. I don't care how many games it took you.
Oh, that is, yes. Yeah. I don't care if, you put up goose eggs in the second. Yeah, that'll earn you cream of the crop every time, for sure. All right, now we're gonna go, and it's in the basement, unfortunately, the basement of the North Division. But hey, there's a glimmer of light, glimmer of hope, and his name is Mason Jopes. Yeah, the Binghamton Devils. 2 goals, 2 assists. He contributes on all of Binghamton points in the B Devils 4-2 win versus Lehigh Valley on Saturday. Guess what? 7-game losing streak. Snap it like a Slim Jim. Oh yeah. You know he's a part of it. Mason Jones, my second cream of the crop. Oh, yeah. Snap it like a Slim Jim. You bet your ass.
Last for me, Jack Dugan, Henderson Silver Knights, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points. Big performance for Henderson in the second game there. Really come along, especially too for them this season. I didn't think he was going to be nearly as good as he's been for Henderson this season. That's my top of the cream of the crop for the weekend. Jack Dugan, Henderson Silver Knights. All right, Cece, who is your final cream of the crop here?
I don't know what you're talking about with this DC madness. I'm the Macho Man. Oh, yeah, I'm talking about Hunter Shepard all the way to the top. Yeah, that's the cream right there. Nothing's going to stop him. At least it didn't. In his AHL debut, he had 28 saves. Shutout. 2-0 victory. He helped earn Bears head coach Spencer Carberry's 100th American Hockey League win. Oh, yeah. Shutout, 100 wins. Spencer Carberry gets it as a coach. Hunter Shepard gets it as a goaltender. Feel it. Top of the cream of the crop. Oh, yeah. Feel that madness. Feel the intensity. Feel the smoldering. Oh, I'm at the boiling point, but thankfully, that's the end. Cream of the crop. Nothing's going to stop me. Nothing's going to stop me. You're welcome.
All right. And we are now at the last portion of our show. Where we are going to have a little quiz.
All right.
So this time of the year, we're starting to get into graduations.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting high school, college graduations. And in the AHL, we have graduations as well, where we graduate players to the NHL. And that is today's quiz. We're looking at AHL graduates, and we're going to quiz CC on them.
Oh, of course. Of course.
So
lay it on me. I'm ready.
I have 7 players here who got called up, and we're considering a graduation to be 5 NHL games this season.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a name. I'm going to give you a little bit of their, time on an NHL, in an NHL locker room, at least, taxi squad or active. And then I'm just going to ask you, did they graduate and get 5 NHL games this year? Yes or no?
Okay.
First up, Philip Maillet, Hershey Bears. Called up to the Capitals taxi squad January 30th, stayed with the Capitals until March 24th. Did he graduate, CC?
I'm going to say negative. No, he did not.
That is correct, CC. He did not get 5 games despite being with the Capitals for quite a large amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he was.
Second is Glenn Gaudin of the Stockton Heat of Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
First called up February 10th, sent back February 16th, called back up February 20th, sent back March 2nd, called back up April 24th, and is still there to this day. Did he graduate and get 5 NHL games this season, CC?
I'm going to say yes.
That is correct. CC, 2 for 2.
Okay. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it rolling.
Number 3, Dylan Sakura. Called up April 21st and is still there. Did he graduate and get 5 NHL games?
I'm going to say I'm going to say yes.
CC, 3 for 3.
Boom, son. Boom. Right.
All right. You need to go 1 for 4 to win this quiz.
Okay.
Next is Kyle Capobianco.
Mm.
He made the Arizona Coyotes out of camp, was sent down February 20th, called up April 14th, and is still there. Did he play 5 games and graduate? CC.
I'm going to say he has not earned his diploma yet. He has not graduated.
CC with the perfect quiz, ladies and gentlemen, goes 4 for 4 and has earned himself 30 untimed seconds of whatever is on his mind. I really need to start making these harder.
I want to say something real quick. So we talked about this before the show, and Sean was saying that Sean always in the outline puts his topic that he wants to talk about. And so I always feel bad when I win these quizzes because I normally don't have a topic prepared. So yeah, you know what, Sean, I got nothing tonight. So I'm going to defer, and I'm going to let you take the floor and let you go for it, because it's been a while. It's been a while since Sean could talk about his stuff. Yeah. Okay, go for it, man.
Well, we actually have something that I want to talk about on a positive note, not just me, what grinds my gears. I found a show on Netflix that I've really been enjoying over the weekend. It's called Shadow and Bone. It's kind of like if Game of Thrones were PG-13 rated and set in like 1900s Russia. That's how I would describe the show. There are magic elements to it, and there's a lot of like really interesting kind of backstory. It's based on a series of novels, which I haven't read because I don't know how to read, spoiler alert. But I've really enjoyed the show so far. It very much has that world building element that we all loved in Game of Thrones. There are fantasy elements, but it doesn't feel so far out there that it's like too fake. Also with a Netflix budget, like their CGI is really well done. It's a lot of no-name actors, but it's been really well acted so far. And a lot of the characters are a little outlandish and kind of fun. My favorite so far is Jasper, who is a kind of loose cannon gunslinger who has a little bit of a gambling problem and very much thinks of himself as a self-assured, self-confident kind of go-getter. And like I said, really like the show so far. Would recommend you check it out. Shadow and Bone on Netflix. That's all I got.
Cool. Yeah, always in the market for a new TV series. Okay, well, yeah, I'm going to have to get used to this. That is it for the show. If you guys are enjoying the show, please make sure to subscribe so you get episodes in a timely fashion. Also, please rate and review the podcast wherever you are listening to it from. Or if you're watching on YouTube, like the video and comment on what you thought of this episode. Don't forget to subscribe no matter what platform you're on or on YouTube. Doing so helps others find the show, and your reviews, of course, help us improve it, rather. You can also follow the show on social media at Calder Farmstead on Twitter, at the Calder Farmstead on Instagram, good old IG as the kids call it these days, and at the Calder Farmstead on Facebook as well. Links to all of that and more can be found in our link tree, which is scrolling below. If you cannot see it, if you are listening just in audio form, it is linktr.ee/the Calder Farmstead.
I'm Sean O'Brien. You can find me on Twitter at Sean O'Brien81. That's SeanObrien 81. I'm also on Instagram at Sean O'Brien _81. You can find my stats work, including all of that PDO and point shares model nonsense, at bit.ly/data dump and chase. I'm a little bit behind on updating it because I had some technical difficulties the past couple weeks when I was supposed to be doing it. Most of the data is saved though, so it shouldn't be a problem, but it is a work in progress. That's what happens when I'm lazy. Big thanks to Adrian Drake, who made our theme music. You can find him on social media at AD_dysfunction. That's AD_DYSFUNCTION. So we can make music for you too. CC, where can people find the podcast and your work?
Well, yes, my name is CC Hockley. You can find the Calder Farmstead. We are a part of the Full Press Radio Network. You can find our program, other hockey podcasts, a lot of other great sports and sports entertainment shows at Full Press Coverage. That's www.fullpresscoverage.com. Me personally, you can find me representing Full Press Hockey on Twitter at FPC_AHL and at my personal Twitter account at CCHawk. That's SEESEEHAWK. As I always say, 75 to 80% is hockey. We got music. We've got personal stuff. We've got, wrestling, sports entertainment. Hopefully, if it keeps me interested, it's not going to be bullshit for you. So you can check out my writing on the Full Press Coverage Network at www.fullpresshockey.com. Still trying to finalize that feature piece a couple of weeks ago when I covered Kristen Basnett, photographer that hadn't shot a pro hockey game in 405 days. We're going to put the finishing touches on it. We're going to get it done sooner rather than later. Stay tuned for that. Sean, take us home.
Thank you guys all for tuning in. I just want to say, as for CC Hockley, I'm Sean O'Brien. Please dump and chase responsibly.